In this example, we're asked to use the table to answer a couple of questions. The first question being to actually complete the table. In order to complete the table, we have to look at the pattern that is in each column. The pattern in column A is that we are adding 1 in between each set of numbers. So 3 plus 1 will give us 4, and 4 plus 1 will give us 5, 5 plus 1 will give us 6, and 6 plus 1 will give us 7. Next, we want to look at the pattern between each of the numbers in column B. Because this one isn't as simple as just adding 1, I like to subtract the numbers to find the difference. And then we'll look at whether or not we're getting bigger or smaller. So if I subtract here, if you notice I have a negative negative, that means I'm actually going to add. So the difference here is 7. Now whether I'm adding 7 or subtracting 7, I'm not yet sure. If we look, I'm going from 4 to a negative 3, so I'm obviously getting smaller, which means I'm going to be subtracting. And then to go from negative 3 to negative 10, again, we're subtracting some more. So you're either subtracting 7 or adding negative 7. So if we keep going with that pattern, I'm going to get a negative 17, a negative 24, a negative, 33? And then a negative 40. So that takes care of letter A to complete the table. But it also takes care of letter B because that asks us for the pattern. And in order to complete the table, we had to find a pattern in column B. And the pattern here was to subtract 7. Or you could say add negative 7. Either one of those would be fine. For letter C, it's asking us for the values of the domain. And domain is going to be our input, which is going to be our first column, column A. And when we're listing the domain, we just put it in a brace, and we list it in order from least to greatest, starting with the 1, and list them in order all the way up to our last value. And then we close it with another brace. I'm sorry my brace is so sloppy today. Fix that, make it a little prettier. There we go. And for the range, the values of the range is going to be our output, which is going to be our other column, column B. This one, we also want to list in order from least to greatest, but we have to be careful because we're dealing with negatives. And when you're dealing with negatives, the larger looking the number is, the smaller it actually is. So I'm actually going to start with my negative 40, and then negative 33, negative 24, negative 17, negative 10, negative 3, and positive 4.